The Young and the Restless spoilers Friday, September 26th. Kane blows alliance, Victor's consideration, Nikki's surprise. The Young and the Restless spoilers are in for Friday, September 26th, 2025. In the next episode, fans can expect Kane Ashby, Billy Flynn, to end an alliance. Victor Newman, Eric Braeden, considers a truce with Jack Abbott, Peter Bergman. Plus, Nikki Newman, Melody Thomas Scott, receives surprising news. Jack Abbott's truce offering. Let's start off with Jack, who has decided to try to form an alliance with Victor. However, both Kyle Abbott, Michael Mealer, and Diane Jenkins Abbott, Susan Walters, will be doubtful that it's the right move. At the same time, Jack can't trust Billy Abbott, Jason Thompson, and feels like he needs to do something to protect Jabot. It seems that Jack does get a meeting with Victor. Victor Newman's consideration. In the past, Victor would have laughed at an alliance with Jack. However, Victor has tried to blackmail Kane and make him deals. The patriarch even tried to use Lily Winters, Crystal Khalil, and the children. It didn't work though, and Kane said no deal. While Victor puts on a brave face, he is troubled by this whole situation. So, when Jack suggests an alliance to defeat Kane, Victor will agree to take it under consideration. Nikki Newman's surprise. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Friday, September 26th reveal that Nikki will get a surprise. This surprise might be the news that Victor is seriously thinking about an alliance with Jack. Nikki knows the alliance will be their best chance to stop Kane. However, she might also worry that they won't be able to work together civilly. Kane Ashby's alliance end. Kane will decide that it's time to end another alliance. The tycoon let go of Billy and told him to fix things with Sally Spectra, Courtney Hope. Is it possible that Kane could also let go of Michael Baldwin, Christian LeBlanc, to save the lawyer's marriage with Lauren Fenmore Baldwin, Tracy E. Bregman? Lauren was furious over finding out about Michael working for Kane. Even though he's working for both Victor and Kane, this opportunity or marriage, maybe even both, might blow up in his face. Friday, September 26th, 2025. There is also Claire Grace Newman, Haley Aaron, who has a big decision to make about Holden Novak's, Nathan Owens' proposition. It seems like Claire could take him up on the trip to Los Angeles, so stay tuned. The boardroom at Newman Enterprises had always been a battleground, but rarely had it been this tense. Kane Ashby sat in the corner of the room, jaw tight, eyes darting from Victor Newman to the others at the table. He thought he had been careful, thought his maneuvering had been flawless, but as the great Victor Newman's piercing gaze landed on him, Kane knew he was caught. For weeks, Kane had been attempting to straddle two alliances. On one side, he had promised loyalty to Victor, agreeing to keep the Newman patriarch informed on Chancellor Winter's internal shifts. On the other, he'd been whispering to Devon, insisting he had Chancellor Winter's best interests at heart. In the soap opera world of Genoa City, this kind of double-dealing never stayed hidden for long. It was Nikki who broke the silence first. "Kane," she said, her tone deceptively gentle, "I think we'd all like to hear you explain yourself." The room stiffened. Nikki's words weren't accusatory in volume, but in meaning they carried a sharpness that cut Kane deeper than Victor's stare. Nikki Newman rarely called someone out directly, unless she already knew the truth. Kane swallowed hard. "I don't know what you mean, Nikki." Victor leaned forward, hands clasped, the gleam in his eyes bordering on amused. "You've been playing both sides, my boy. That never works in this town. Not with me." His gravelly voice carried both authority and a dark promise of retribution. Kane's plan, once crafted in desperation, began to crumble in real time. He had been trying to rebuild himself, to carve out a space of relevance in Genoa City again. Since his fall from grace years earlier, Kane had struggled with identity, loyalty, and survival. Aligning with Victor seemed smart, it always was. But he underestimated Devon's sharp instincts and Nikki's watchful eye. Devon's voice echoed in Kane's head. "I don't need people around me who'll sell me out, Kane. Chancellor Winters isn't a playground for your schemes." Devon hadn't said it yet, but Kane could feel the confrontation coming. Victor leaned back now, folding his arms. "You thought you could outmaneuver me? I almost admire the effort." Almost. This was not the alliance-bolstering conversation Kane had hoped for. This was Judgment Day. Victor's consideration. Yet Victor didn't dismiss him outright. Instead, he studied Kane as though weighing whether the man had any remaining value. That was the cruelty and brilliance of Victor Newman. He rarely discarded a pawn without first considering how that pawn might still serve his empire. "You've got ambition," Victor said at last. "And sometimes that's useful. Even dangerous ambition can be steered in the right direction." Kane blinked, confused. Was Victor offering him another chance? Or was this one of those twisted psychological games where the patriarch dangled hope only to snatch it away? Nikki's brows furrowed. "Victor," she said softly, almost warningly. "You're not seriously thinking of keeping him in your orbit, are you? He's already proven he can't be trusted." Victor smirked. "Everyone in this town has betrayed someone at some point, Nikki. That doesn't make them useless. It makes them seasoned." He returned his gaze to Kane. "The question is whether Kane's betrayal was stupidity or strategy. If it's the latter, maybe we hung heavy in the room." Kane's pulse raced. He wanted to believe this was salvation, that Victor Newman had just extended him a lifeline. But the problem with Victor was that every lifeline came with invisible chains. Nikki's surprise. Nikki rose gracefully from her chair, her eyes sparkling with something Kane couldn't place. Was it anger? Or triumph? She walked toward Victor, placing a hand on his shoulder. "Before you make your decision, there's something I haven't told you." Victor tilted his head. "What is it, my darling?" Nikki turned her attention to Kane, and for the first time in weeks he felt genuine fear. She knew something he hadn't prepared for. You see, Kane wasn't just feeding information to both sides. He was also reaching out to Jill, trying to leverage Chancellor Winters against Newman Enterprises entirely. A third alliance. One he never expected us to know about. The words detonated like a bomb in the room. Kane's mouth fell open. Jill had promised discretion. But then again, Jill Abbott never promised anything she couldn't retract when the timing suited her. Victor's expression darkened. His earlier consideration seemed to vanish in an instant. "A third alliance?" he growled, standing. "You were going to pit us against each other while you walked away the victor? You underestimated me, Kane." Gravely. Nikki's surprise wasn't just the revelation. It was the calculated way she delivered it, at the exact moment Kane thought he might be spared. She had orchestrated his downfall with impeccable timing, proving once again that Nikki Newman was more than Victor's wife. She was a strategist in her own right. Kane's collapse. I can explain," Kane stammered. "It wasn't betrayal, it was insurance. Genoa City has a way of crushing people, and I—" "Enough," Victor thundered, slamming a fist onto the table. "You had your chance. You chose deceit. And now you'll reap the consequences." Kane felt his throat tighten. He'd gambled everything and lost. His desperate scramble to be relevant again had left him exposed, humiliated, and at Victor's mercy. Nikki's expression softened, but not toward Kane. Her hand rested on Victor's arm, soothing his fury. "Darling, he's not worth your rage. Let him stew in his own downfall. That will hurt more than anything we could do." Victor nodded slowly, his fury transforming into icy calm. "You're right, my love. Exile is sometimes more painful than destruction." He turned back to Kane. "You're finished here. Don't show your face in my offices again." The fallout. When Kane left Newman Enterprises, the autumn air of Genoa City felt colder than ever. His so-called alliances had shattered, leaving him with nothing but a tarnished reputation and the whispers of betrayal following him down the street. Meanwhile, Victor and Nikki lingered in the boardroom, alone at last. "You timed that perfectly," Victor said, a rare smile playing on his lips. Nikki shrugged lightly, though satisfaction gleamed in her eyes. "I've learned from the best." Victor kissed her hand, pride swelling in his chest. He had considered Kane as a pawn, but Nikki had turned him into an example. Together, they had reaffirmed their dominance, not just over Newman Enterprises, but over Genoa City itself. And Kane? His chapter wasn't closed, not yet. Genoa City had a way of resurrecting the fallen. But for now, his alliances were dust, his schemes exposed, and his relevance hanging by a thread. As Victor and Nikki looked out over the city skyline from their office window, one truth remained clear. In Genoa City, loyalty was fleeting, power was everything, and those who tried to outmaneuver the Newmans always paid the price.